Hello, everybody. Welcome to a bonus reading. We're still going to have our Sunday collective, but I needed to see you today because there's a lot going on, celestially speaking. We have a full moon happening between tonight and tomorrow, depending on where you're at. So I wanted to make sure we didn't miss that pocket of energy and that I could kind of support you through that movement. There's also an eclipse happening as well. It's a blood moon, meaning that the Earth moves in the shadow of the sun and kind of casts this weird shadow on the moon. So for me, a full moon in and of itself can be intense, but when you add into it all of this other stuff, it's like extra intense, right? And I believe if I was doing some research on the astrology, like Saturn is playing a role, which means old lessons from the past are coming through. So we never choose this, or very rarely choose this, on our weekly collectives. So I didn't even ask. I'm like, we need to look at healing the shadow. And we also need to look at old business that hasn't been dealt with. So I'm going to look at some of the tougher stuff. Next week, I might do a relationship reading too. I'm doing a bunch of bonus ones this month, topically chosen, things that haven't been dealt with before. So this is one of those, healing the shadow, stopping the procrastination. And then next week, we'll do some like a fun bonus reading on love and relationships. And we're still doing the Sunday one. I'm just picking some topics that I think we need to cover that don't get covered. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get straight into it. I think what worked, I just recently did a September reading. I can go straight into the elements and see what's in store for all of the elements during this double whammy of the eclipse and the full moon. And then we're going to go into those topics that I'm talking about. So welcome. Let's get started. All right, so I've already selected a deck here, but I think I'm going to save this for the special topic portion of it. So and I might do a full Celtic cross for today because it is that intensive a sort of an event. So first things first, we're going to take a look at fire, earth, air, and water and see what's coming through. And I might pull two cards here, like let's just pull one for each. We'll get into the topics later. All right. Close your eyes, let go of any emotion that you're bringing in, whether it's anticipation, fear, or malaise. I don't care. Let's just become neutral in this moment. Create a circle of light around your body with your mind's eye. Call in angels, spirit guides, ascended masters, and let's begin. Okay. Fire, earth, air, water. All right. We're going to start off with fire signs, which comprises Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Here we go. A very beautiful Nine of Swords, I might say. So typically, Nine of Swords, you see someone in a bedroom with all the swords above them representing the sort of cognitive stress that we can put on ourselves sometimes. And what this is saying in this moment is you can't give too much weight or energy to everything that everyone is thinking about. Everyone has an opinion. It's almost virtually impossible to please every single person in your life. And sometimes we also go through the rabbit hole of everything negative that could happen. So, well, what if this doesn't happen? And then what if they laugh at me? And what if I can't finish this? And it's a lot of what ifs. Let's not go there, especially today. Because specifically on a full moon, it's really about releasing the energy. And you can say it doesn't serve me. It's blocking me from seeing the way, from seeing the synchronicity, something that I talked about in the daily card reading. So we want to be able to see the synchronicity. Rest, it's really important to rest. So sometimes I'm going to give you work to do. Sometimes I'm going to give you permission to do nothing. This is the latter. And by the way, there's a difference between stillness and doing nothing. I'm really inviting for stillness today. Create some space in your life for self-care, rest, meditation, relaxation, fun, anything that gets you away from all of those things that I was just talking about. The fears, the anxieties, the what-ifs. There's time enough tomorrow for those. I'd really encourage you to wait until Monday for getting any sort of action plan together. Let's get through the full moon first, and then you can start to deal with that. Just be gentle with yourself. If there is stress in your life, I think it's going to be really important for you today to focus on how can I better manage it in the week ahead. We can't unless you're extremely lucky, even then, I don't think anyone on the planet lives without stress. It's just how life is. something isn't going to go exactly the way you want, or you really want something to go a certain way, so you get stressed. But your reaction to a stimuli or stimulus is what's going to, like, you can manage how much energy you give to it, right? So let's not feed the beast that is anxiety or fear or stress. Instead, let's take care of ourselves and let's just do the best that we can. That's all you came to the planet to do. It doesn't matter what your mom, your boss, your friend, whoever think, even what you're thinking, like, you have to be a little bit kinder and say, I did my best today. Maybe I messed up yesterday. Maybe I messed up, 2 months ago, but I can't let that stress me out. So I'm putting a Band-Aid on here. Self-care in real time. So I guess I scraped my knee, which is funny. All right, so just like I'm doing, take a break. Take care of yourself. And make sure that you're not pushing yourself to the point of pain, discomfort, or just that feeling that you're not going to be able to get through it. It's okay. Taking 1 minute for yourself, not a big deal, not the end of the world. All right, things are usually better than you think. And it may be as symbolic as taking a little Band-Aid and putting it on something and saying, all right, let's just give myself a rest, all right? It's so funny when life mirrors the cards, and that's one of the cases there. All right, so fire signs, you've got this. It is important to sleep. Quality and quantity of sleep with the Nine of Swords are really, really important. So please do make sure that your ritual before bedtime is something that is supportive and affirmative for that kind of rest. In other words, watch what you're listening or watching on TV and make sure that it's not something that is stress-inducing. So even just meditation before bed would be better tonight, okay? All right, let's move on. We're going to go to the next set of signs. So we're going to go to Earth. We have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So this is a fiercely independent and a very self-sustaining and successful card. The one thing that you want to focus on with this, though, is feeling like you have to do everything all on your own. So that independence, when reversed, can sometimes lead to perfectionism or can lead to this feeling of, like, just, I'm afraid to ask. I'm afraid to lean on someone else for support. So don't be afraid. The other thing with this is there's no rush. Absent from this card, actually, no, it's not. It's here. It's just hidden. So in her cornucopia hat, we have the little snail. So it's really important, and it's right in her crown chakra area. It's really important to think in a way that is methodical, planned, and tactical. Tactical and practical, as I like to say. So there's no rush. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, stay grounded in what it is that you want to do, what you intend to do, and trust that it's going to work out. I also like that she's open to counsel. So that bird in this particular version of the card does represent someone coming in and giving some advice. So don't be afraid to ask. Well, I think one of the clear signs of a leader is being able to admit when you don't know. We see a lot of people in the world right now who pretend to know everything. To me, that's a big red flag. I think it's so powerful to say, I don't know, but I want to know. Why don't we look at this together? Or, if you're put on the spot, you can say, it's a great question. Let me do some research and I'll get back to you tomorrow. What's wrong with that? We all came here to learn. So don't feel like you have to know everything. Ask for some support. Buy yourself some time. Like I just gave you a tip there. You can even pat it a little bit and say, I really want to give you what you need on this, but I'm going to need some more time so that I can make sure that I have all the facts and information. And if someone's rushing you, or if you think they're rushing, just say, why don't we slow down and make sure that we're getting the big picture here and we're not missing something? These are very subtle ways to just buy time and not rush. And that's one of the great takeaways with this card. So I'm very happy that the snail was in the corner. We also see a bountiful, fruitful, abundant energy here. So it's not about how quickly you get to the finish line. It's slow, steady progress. And that's the big takeaway for that. I feel pretty good about all the earth signs this week. You've got this, but you might need to slow down just a little bit. Okay, so we looked at fire, earth. Let's go on to the air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Getting strategic. Five of Wands, looking beyond a potential conflict and also looking for, because I'm looking at conflict, it could be a conflict of interest, which is kind of interesting. I wouldn't normally look at it this way, but the fact that she is gazing out at this chessboard and is being very cognitive of how does this serve me? Is this something that makes sense? I think it's really important to not get distracted by something, especially someone else's drama, because she's above the drama here. So if there is a person around you who's fighting, who's trying to stir things up, who's trying to like poke the hornet's nest, this is not the day to engage with any of that. Take a step back. That's their drama. That's their trauma. You've got to focus on your life and your stuff. The fact that this is reversed also means that things are about to get better. Many of the air signs over this past month, week, or year, because we're looking at what the eclipse is bringing in, you've been dealing with this sense of, gosh, I'm tired of this, whatever this might be. Allow this full moon to be the moment where you truly release it and you start to think about what comes next. Karmically, I feel like you're ready to close a door, more so than anybody else, any of the other signs that I've looked at so far. Like, I'm completely mind, body, and spirit done with this. And you can be done with this if you allow yourself to be. So we see pawns in this particular illustration as well. Don't let somebody use you as a pawn, and again, in their own situation. We're seeing beyond the manipulation, beyond the mirage, and saying, I don't think so. Okay. Really good takeaway energy here. Also, the next card is success. So the struggle that you've been through, Six of Wands is going to represent the success. But you have to finish up this last little journey, this last little lesson. And I really do feel like you're ready to do that. So just think to yourself, it's going to get better. I just have to finish this first, which helps us get beyond the procrastination, whatever it is that you might be procrastinating on. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else here that I want to look at. Just that there is a way through it, but it's not quick. So much like the previous message, it's about slow, measured, researched steps, not something that's a quick win. Let's go to the water signs. Very similar to what we were looking at with fire. So we have the Ten of Swords here in reverse. And this one I love because it's showing that much of the Ten of Swords is mental. So it could be, it's not that it's just in your head, but it could be that people are occupying that space in your head. Something that someone said, it's still ricocheting. And maybe they didn't know, maybe they did, and they're, whether it's nefarious or accidental, it doesn't matter. Words can sting. I was using that metaphor of the hornet a few moments ago. Words definitely can sting. But we have to consider the source, and sometimes we just need that final sting to move on from something. So the Ten of Swords in its elevated form is a punctuated stop, a full stop. And from that point, I'm never going back to that. So sometimes we need the straw that breaks the camel's back in order to help us get to greener pastures and better energies. So if you have had a disappointment, an upset, someone was acting a fool, or if something just broke your energy a little bit down a bit this week, know to yourself, this helps me know I don't want that. I'm not going back. And it's now or never. It's time to move forward. Take care of yourself, please. This could just be burnout. If you've been putting in too many hours at school, work, or just in the relationship, you're pulling, the lion's share of the work. It's time to push back. Your body and your mind has limits, and this week we don't want to push it to the limits. The least dangerous thing that can happen with the Ten of Swords is just an argument. Some of you may be at the point where you're like, I'm about to to go off on someone. Don't. That would be my sort of advice here. Draft out whatever it is you want to say. Put it in a journal. Put it in a word processing document, but nothing that you could accidentally send. And just sit with it for a second and think, do I really want to say that? Do I really want to do that? Or is there a better way to handle this? Getting a massage, getting acupuncture done, resting, as we've been talking about, like I said with the first set of signs, all of that will help. And tomorrow will yield a better result than today. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, whatever you want to do, not today. Again, very rarely will you get that from me, but I do think resting is really important. And articulating something in Ten of Swords or doing something in Ten of Swords energy, it's not fruitful. What's better is letting go, releasing, resting, getting distance from a situation, researching the possibilities, but don't beat yourself up. That's another thing with this. Whatever it is, you're possibly looking at it from a more critical angle than you need to, okay? Elevate all conversations today, including the dialogue that we all have with ourselves. First and foremost, it has to start there. Love yourself and lead with love everywhere else, okay? That's why we're showing up today. There were some powerful messages, and I want the weekly reading to be focusing on the week ahead. There was a lot coming through just for the full moon and just for the eclipse. And even though I wanted to sleep in, I gave myself an extra hour. I was like, we got to show up today. So I'm here for you guys. I hope you enjoy and appreciate it. We're going to look at some special topics now, things that I'm focusing on. Let's check in on Apollo. I think he's behind me now. So we'll give him a little pat on the head. Hey, buddy. Who's a good boy? You are. Thank you. He's got some bed head there, so you'll have to excuse him. All right. I want to look at the shadow first, something we don't do all the time on the channel, but we have to, because we're living in a universe where there is shadow and light, and it's all from the same source. So we don't need to look at shadow as evil. It's just another reflection of ourselves. And if we ignore the shadow grows and then takes over. So we're looking at balancing it out. That's what I'm looking at. What is the fear? What is the anxiety? What's going on? So I think the main sort of Celtic cross that I want to pull is Healing the Shadow, which was the title of this reading. And then we're going to look specifically at what the eclipse and what the full moon brings in. But without any further delay, let's get started. So again, the intention here is to see both sides of the equation, shadow and light, and help you get through the shadow. Okay, let's begin with channeled messages. Not channeled messages. Actually, I'll talk about those afterwards, but I want to go first with the catalyst. So, catalyst. We have vanity coming through here. What an interesting message. And it's saying, don't worry what others think. It's not necessarily saying you're vain. That's like too much of a face value of this one. It's saying the worry about projection is unnecessary. What's more important is, am I doing what I set out to do? Am I doing the best that I can do? Am I learning from my mistakes? Am I okay with showing that I don't know everything? Because being a true citizen and student of the world means that you've got something to know and to learn. That's why we're all tuning in today, myself included. So don't worry what people think. Your actions will speak louder than words, and one snapshot in time does not equate like the totality of your potential. So one mistake isn't a big deal. Saying I don't know is not a sign of weakness. Saying I need some time or taking care of yourself because you're just feeling things, it's not a bad thing. So don't worry about showing that side of yourself, sensitivity. We're in a weird zone right now where I don't understand why, but we'll look at the cards. But it feels like for some reason, empathy, kindness, and being awake, it's being pushed into a place where it's being judged. So, I mean, the opposite of being awake is being asleep. I'd rather be awake, wouldn't you? So let's embrace being awake. Let's embrace being kind. And let's not worry about the people that are, because honestly, the people that don't like that, they're angry. I don't know why. I mean, it's a myriad of reasons, but we can't meet anger with anger. We can stand up for ourselves, we should, but we're not going to capitulate and sort of become less than we are. That's the sort of thing here. Just to placate this, where you know in the long run, you're not going to be able to make them happy. All right, we've come to the point in the reading where Apollo needs a treat, so let's give him one. All right. He was like, Dad, that's too heavy. That's too much information for me to parse right now. So I get it, Apollo. All right, at the center of the spread, we have a beautiful energy here in the Eight of Swords. It's reversed, so it's saying there actually isn't as much of a limit as you might imagine. Sometimes we put ourselves in a cage. This is the prison of thought. And it's saying, open your mind to what else? It doesn't have to be this way. So if you can open yourself up to the possibilities, there might be a different way. This little crow needs to look up, though. And it's also been told for so long, you can't do this, you're not this enough, you're not that enough, that it's started to set into its headspace. So when I left my corporate job, for some reason last night I was looking at some old videos, and I'm like, my voice is different. I actually, I feel like my throat was closed down for some reason. Like, there's nothing wrong with me, but I spoke softer and I spoke higher. It was just a weird tone. I was listening. I'm like, that was my voice? That's not my voice. It isn't now. I have a much stronger voice, but that took about 11 years to deprogram and reprogram, because I was told to speak and act and do things a certain way, and told to keep my voice down, or I could only speak when this person was not speaking, and all this stuff. And so you start to put the walls up. So today could be the first day to start taking away some of those things that other people put in place. Teacher society, friends, neighbors, parents, bosses, and sometimes even us. It takes a while for those to all be removed, but you could start the removal process now and reclaim your voice. I mean, it's not, Swords is more of an action suit, but it can be communicative when we're looking at like the Ace of Swords page, Queen, King, etc. But for this one, that's what I'm thinking. Why can't the bird sing? Why can't the cage bird sing? It's because of what society has done to silence the voice, right? So you're reclaiming your voice, and it takes time, but it's still there. Also, there just may be a different way, and sometimes we lack what's the word that I'm looking for? The detachment. That's the best one that can come to mind right now. We are too attached to an outcome, so we need an objective. We lack the objectivity. We need an objective point of view to help us see it from a different perspective, okay? You could ask, why not? When someone says you can't, say, why not? Where's that coming from? I think I can. I know I can. Why not? And you can also ask yourself the question, why not? Crossing that card, we have the Knight of Swords, who through a question, much like I just asked, is able to cut through the nonsense. So he's finding light where shadow exists, saying, I don't think so. Let's pull back this mirage. It's worth the work. Whatever you're about to do, the Knight of Swords is saying it's worth it. Let's fight for that. Fight for what's worth fighting for, but don't just fight for the sake of fighting. Communication travels quickly right now, positive and negative. So be very mindful of what you say, also what you think, but mostly what you say, and make sure that your actions are matching your communication. And as long as you do that, we see things starting to shift. We see the sun starting to peer out from the clouds, which is very good, okay? You know, there was a lot of healing energy that was coming through as I was looking at like 9 of Swords, 10 of Swords a little bit earlier. So for everybody that's watching, the Empress in reverse is really about making sure that you're practicing good self-care and that you're not, again, you're not giving in too much to what everyone else and what everyone else is saying or thinking. All right, Apollo needs another snack. I'm keeping an eye on him in the background. Here you go, buddy. He's like, this is a heavy conversation today. The interesting thing about Apollo is when I was manifesting my little familiar in the background, I said, you know, I want someone who is sensitive, who knows what I'm saying and thinking. Careful what you wish for. He's a very astute, amazing dog, but he definitely feels the intensity of energy. And so when I'm working through the shadow stuff, he's like, Dad, I can feel that too. So thanks, Apollo, for holding space for all of us. We know we're going to work through this together. Okay? All right. He should be all right now. There may also be some familial healing that needs to take place, mother, father, or mentor in your life. And whether they're living or dead, you can still do that healing. Having a conversation with a deceased relative is actually quite liberating sometimes, because let's say that there was a difficult time in sort of communicating when they were corporeal or in the flesh. When they've transitioned into spirit, they have to listen and they can't talk back. And so you can say any and everything that was on your mind and have peace and quiet while you do it. So even if there was a contentious relationship, now especially is a great time to say what you need to say and release it. This is also about the inner child within. And let's say there wasn't the support you needed. It could be a teacher too in your life that wasn't there, or a period of time where you felt like you were on the outside looking in. So this version of the card is basically saying, I'm going to be mother, father, mentor, and sort of like take care of myself for me. Because we do have that potential to nurture ourselves. And in this period of time, it's increasingly important to do just that. Okay? Also, having good boundaries, which I feel like I've been talking about till the cows come home, is definitely important. This can represent a controlling person, as can this. So let's talk a little bit about these two cards back to back. We love the High Priestess. It's one of the best cards in the deck. But if she's reversed, it can be someone in your life that knows how to get under your skin, push your buttons, say things that will trigger you. And these two could be the same energy. So someone that's very close and may even be a little condescending, because the Empress can be that. She's looking at this child like, I'm better than you. I mean, it's intrinsic to Emperor and Empress. They're the top of the sort of like pecking order. So sometimes there's a person in our life that likes to hold that over us, whatever they think they are. In reality, on a soul level, they're not. Because we all have the sort of same energy coming into the planet. We're from the same star stuff. I was looking at a quote from Carl Sagan. I'll have to see if I can find the direct one and I'll post it later. But essentially, we're all star stuff. This is the crux of it. And we collectively represent the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, trying to make sense of who it is, what it is. I've heard Brian Cox say the same thing too, but we're basically the universe making sense of itself. That's the takeaway. And we're made from, like Joni Mitchell would say, billion-year-old carbon. We are the remnants of old stars. So that person over there who's younger, older, richer, or poorer than you is no better or less than you. They have the same elements in their body, the same heavy metals, the same carbon. So we might have different life experiences this time around, but we have the same source energy. So they can think they're better, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are. And that gives you a sense of freedom, because it's like, I don't need to give them so much weight. I am the same core energy too, and we all go back to the same source. All right. This person may be trying to pull one over on you, but you're going to see beyond it. Trust your instincts. Now we're getting back into the general High Priestess energy. In reverse, she knows better. She knows what's best, but she may not always listen. Listen. Listen to your instincts, especially now. The moon card itself, and we're basically in a big moon energy right now, is instinct. She takes it a level up, and she's like, not just the instinct, but I know. On some level, I know what I want and what I don't want. And this is a period to really lean into that. And she knows who she can trust and who she can't trust. Okay? So there you go. Today would be a great day to lean into intuitive development. Anything that, whether it's spiritual or psychic, it's the same. So I was having a conversation with another spiritual practitioner the other day, and I'm like, I really feel like we put all of these different words on like religion, and religion is like language. It's just a different doorway into the same place, different way to express itself. So in this situation, it's God in the universe comes through in different rays or shards and we interpret what we can see. I would love in this moment in the world if we could realize that our language, our culture, and our religion is but one lens. It's not better or worse. Let's pull all the lenses together and actually see the big picture. We spend so much time still, looking at things from the lens of religion, or, who owns this, or who has right for this, or what. It's fruitless. It doesn't make sense. We're all in this together, irrespective of what we've been through. So there is this commonality. I think this really could help with familial wounds or wounds of like feeling like you're not a part of something, because it's the unfortunate illusion of the corporeal existence that we call being a human. Maybe it helps to know that it doesn't matter as much as other people think. Find other like-minded people that can see beyond the labels. Okay? Queen of Cups. Have some fun. Today especially, get in touch with your heart space. Do something that allows for your creativity and your uniqueness, your singular humanness to kind of flow through and be. But mostly have some fun. Highly empathic, highly creative, highly powerful. You've got all of that going for you today. She's ready to receive something better. So I believe I put this into the daily, but I do so many dailies, I can't remember the exact message around it, but it was something like this. I'm ready for good news. I'm ready for things to get easier. I'm just ready to receive abundance, right? Love, happiness, abundance in the highest forms. So let's open ourselves up to receive that. See yourself as being not lacking or needing to do too much work. Just say, I'm in the flow. I'm ready to be the conduit. Kind of like the magician, as above, so below. You just have to open up to receiving. And I did say in the daily that cups cards, especially the court cards in cups, are receptors, like they're receptacles, like a chalice, a cup, or a satellite dish. And you really want to open yourself up to receive and program that receiving to be like limitless. I have no lack of capacity to receive love and abundance right now. It all starts with loving yourself. Don't look in the mirror. Mirrors are warped sometimes. Just look within. Turn the third eye within and really focus on loving yourself today. And especially during the eclipse and the full moon, okay? We have 2 cards coming through in the near future. So what is it all leading us to? What's it all about? Well, there's a choice at hand. So we have the 2 of Pentacles. The difficult part is choosing, and choosing well, and choosing wisely, and not trying to stretch yourself too thin, especially for those of you that got the 9 and 10 of Swords. It's important to say, this is what I can offer. Don't even say this is all I can offer. Just say, this is what I can do for you. And it's the best that I can do, not all that I can do. This is the best, and it's enough. It's kind of like if you've ever gone to a restaurant. Maybe it's more something that's in the States, but they'll be like, oh, is it just you? Damn, Skippy, it's just me? Yes, it's me. Not just me, it's me. Or like when they're like, a table for one? Yes, a table for one. Like, why are you judging? So picking one is not bad. Getting to the one is not bad. Trying to do everything for everyone, probably not ideal. So it's important to choose one thing so that you can focus. Table for one. Page of Cups in reverse. You do not need to be someone else's battery, emotionally speaking. That's what I'm getting with this card. So someone might need some healing in your life, and they keep reaching out to you, putting stuff on you, and it's sort of like there is a certain limit. So the cup gets full at some point. There's only so much you can take, and then you're like, all right, you're going to have to use your own cup now. So the 2 of Cups, it's give and take. So we need to make sure that there's give and take. When we have the Page of Cups in reverse, she needs to get rid of some of that stuff. It's like, I've had enough. That's all I can handle. So the limits are important, and that's why this will help you from feeling overwhelmed. Make a choice. Have a limit. Don't apologize for saying what's realistic. I wouldn't make it in a corporate environment anymore, because I would speak up when there were silly things like, I don't need to go to this meeting, We've already talked about this. I really need to work on this. This could be an email. This meeting could be an email. Or like you may want all of this done tonight. It's not going to get done. I physically, mentally, and resource-wise can't do that. You're going to need to pull in more people to get this done, and it's not my fault. I can help lead that charge if you want to give me the time, energy, money, and resources to do it, but don't expect me to do it. So I would say it in a kinder way, but like I wouldn't try to make the impossible possible when I know that it's unrealistic. So you have to get realistic in this moment so that you don't burn out. And as your sort of spiritual bestie and advocate, that's what I'm really trying to do here. A little tough love when we look at eclipses because we really need to make sure that we're not overdoing it. So don't overdo it. I want you to be able to have more than enough to see it through to the finish line, okay? All right, we have the World card in reverse. I was recently talking to a friend who started reading tarot, and they pulled the World card in reverse and got freaked out a little bit. It's not a bad card at all. This is the ultimate card in the major arcana, and it represents expansion, moving up, moving on, moving up, moving out. A reversed world can represent any number of the following things. Things happening more quickly than you imagined. And it's like my world's been turned upside down, topsy-turvy. So you're trying to catch your breath and get grounded. Fair enough. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad change, just one that's happening faster than you thought. You may be invited to look beyond expected boundaries, limits, etc. because, again, this is a limitless card or an expansive card. So if you are putting limits, like the center card, then you're missing something. So the world reverse is saying your worldview needs to change. It needs to grow, or it needs to expand, or you need to spin it around and look at a different side of the coin. You're missing something. You're missing the bigger picture. And ultimately, it's a change that's necessary, even if it's inconvenient. So whatever struggle, challenge, feelings, etc. that you might be feeling, it will be all right. You just have to kind of navigate the fact that it's happening. It's happening. And that's basically what the world in reverse is saying, is it's happening and it's happening now. What can you do to embrace it? Think about it like a tower reverse, but very beneficial. The only thing that can get you sort of like, you could be lost in your thoughts a little bit, and I'm trying to encourage you not to get lost in your thoughts. Okay. In the environment, we have a great card, the Nine of Pentacles, once more. So no snail on this card. We do have what looks like, I don't know, some sort of bird on her shoulder. It's kind of hard to see it there. But typically that can be messages from afar. But typically this is also a very abundant card. So we have all of these daisies and flowers abundantly blooming. Take your time. Don't rush. Know that it's not about the quantity, but rather the quality, but I'm seeing both. And if it's lacking, so it's kind of interesting that in the near future, we see like a resource cap limit or reduction, but there's more to be had. That's why I was advocating for you to use your voice, for you to ask why not, because I think you might be able to lift up a stone and find a different path. That's also what the world is about. Look at it from, probably a hawk, by the way, whoever said that. So the hawk or this bird is saying, get a different view of the world, level up a little bit and see what else is out there. And that takes us to the beautiful star card here. So star in reversed, it's still a star. Stars don't have an upside down, right side up. They're circular. So a star is a star is a star. But what happens sometimes is not everybody in your life is ready for you to shine. And it's so interesting that I was talking about stardust, star stuff. You already have all that it takes for this to happen. And there is some version of you that's already there. All we need to do is to align you to the synchronicities. So I was talking to another fellow spiritual practitioner about like an intuition that I had. And it was something that I didn't want to happen. I woke up, cold sweat. I'm like, oh. But then I realized that it hadn't happened yet. And it was basically a future me sending the message to me like, dude, what are we doing? Don't do this. And that's what intuition is. It's a future memory. wrap your head around that. You've already gone through it. You're feeling it. And because time, when you get out of this planet, really doesn't exist so much, there was a part of you that felt it so intently and intensely that it was like, I got to send it back. I don't want to do this. How did I get here? And if you're tuned in, you don't have to go there. It's a GPS saying, traffic ahead, want to reroute? Yes, please. Let's reroute. That's why we show up for these readings. So there's a brighter path ahead. And the futures, because there's multiple futures for you, they're already out there. Let's choose the bright and brilliant one that is the star card. Let's not mute our light. Because when you mute your light, you attract people in your life that tend to want to control or to, mostly that, but like control or to take advantage of all that you have to offer. This, what does a star do? It shines. And this is a time for you to really step into the authenticity, into the brilliance, into the realization that is you. There's something out there that wants to block it. It could even just be your own fear because we're looking at shadows, but it doesn't need to block it. So I really encourage you to see the flash that is possible, see the warning signs, and go towards the possible, go towards that bright light. All right? It's your turn. If you have been putting yourself on the back burner for everyone else, for everything else, it's now your turn. Even if there's still stuff that needs to be sorted out, that's okay. Let's say you're a parent, you want to go back to school, or you want to go back to work, you want to do something for yourself. You can juggle it into the schedule somehow. And I saw this little video of a mom that was graduating, and her son was like, that's my mom, or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. And what a great example for showing that you went back to school to finish something, that it's good to work for stuff and you can do it at any level, at any state in your life. It's never too soon, it's never too old, or it's never too late, rather, for you to do it. Just do it. Like the Nike sort of slogan is, now is the time to just take a step in that direction. And it will be something that's worth the work. Okay? If you can see it, you can do it. That's what I'm really encouraging you to do. We need to be able to see the possibilities. If you limit what's possible before it even comes through, how will you know? Okay, now I have a Whitney Houston song in my head. But how will you know if you don't give it a shot? All right, the outcome card today is Strength. This is a very peaceful strength card. And we were talking about equity, being on the level, being balanced and being equal. And we have that loud and clear, eye to eye, face to face. She's not opening up the mouth of the lion, trying to make it say, do, or feel something. She's looking into its heart and soul and saying, why don't we do this? Like, can you see the logic of it? She's reasoning. Reason rather than control. It's a lot more sustainable. I'll pull the traditional card here. And if there's anyone in your life that is a control, we need to use a better word than control freak, but like is enamored with control, it's exhausting. And if they always need you to confirm, like, isn't that right? Or don't you feel this way? Or like, let's do this. And they never ask, well, how do you feel? What do you want? What do you think? Then it's kind of like the red flag that you need to move in a new direction. So here's the controlling energy that can be strength. We love strength. It's divine feminine. It has the ability to push back on the establishment. All of those things are good. But it is also a not so sustaining energy. And I like modern interpretations of strength where we don't have to fight in that way anymore. There might be a different way to meet on the level, at least in this spread, because I'm using this deck today. Take care of your physical and mental health too, because you need your own strength to embody the energy that is the star. Stars have limits. They go supernova, right? Or they can go to the white dwarf phase or become a black hole, because there comes a point sometimes when they've exhausted their fuel. So what happens, I think, is I don't know if it becomes like an iron core in a really supermassive star, and that's what creates a black hole, I think. Not an astrophysicist, but it's something like that. Basically, the core can't hold the glue together that is the star. So we want to make sure that your core is strong and still allowing you to shine. And the core in the human body is going to be the heart and the mental health and the physical well-being. So take care of all of those things, mind, body, and spirit. We don't want supernovas. We don't want white dwarfs. We don't want black holes. We want you to continue to persist for as long as possible and to shine. This was a powerful reading already. I'm so glad we showed up. Tomorrow will be great too, but today I just needed to not have all of the things that we do in a Sunday collective and just help us through shadow energy. Hopefully this will encourage you also to look at the shadows sometimes, or look at the healing messages that I have, because I think there's fear around them. Like, I don't want to do the work. I want it to just be fun. When we do the work, we truly liberate ourselves, and it is easier then. Sometimes we got to do it. And like I said, if I feel like we need to do mop-up, we'll do mop-up on a reading like this. We needed to do it today. All right. Let's take a look at what the lesson from the eclipse is and what the lesson from the full moon is. And if I feel like I need to look at anything after that, I will. And yes, there can be a big bang, but we're just looking at a single star right now. But I like where you're going with that. All right. Back to this. What's coming through first on the full moon? I'm going to just do one at a time so I don't get confused. Well, hello. This is everything that I've been talking about. Relaxation, composure, and indifference. Let's use a different word besides indifference. Let's say detachment. Because this sloth is attached, and sloths move slowly, and there's definitely a correlation between the sloth and the snail, where I was saying slow, steady, and very measured, even when I was looking at the chess pieces and all of that. So take it slow on Saturday, on Sunday, even into Monday. For the next 3 days, take it slow. Relax, rest. Gain your composure. For those of you that had 9 and 10 of swords in particular, but even the 5 of wands, I think everybody could use a moment to just say, I got to get on even ground before I step into something where I need to negotiate, where I need to have an argument or need to have a discussion. Like, I need to have myself sorted first. And that's what we're getting with this full moon, is just take care of yourself and get some distance, and get a sense of detachment. I don't love indifference because it's too detached. We do want to just sort of say, I'd like this to happen, but I don't need it to happen. That's kind of where my guides are pointing us. All right, so specifically the eclipse. And I believe that the eclipse is probably dealing with something that's been put under the rug. How can we deal with something that we don't want to deal with? It's not just the shadow, it's maybe procrastination. That's what I'm picking up on energetically. All right, we got a camel, the camel in reverse. All right, so let's look at the upright version of it. Travel, stamina, and service. The stamina piece has to do with this. Like, I feel some of you are just exhausted. When you give yourself a chance to breathe and recalibrate, it will get a little bit easier to have the stamina that you want. Distance is so helpful. You may need to get away from someone, something, in order to understand it better. Think like 8 of Cups energy. Service. So many of you are in service to others, constantly helping others, constantly putting energy out to the world at large. And I think it's important for you to make sure that you're being of service to yourself as well. So with the reversal of this, it's saying, take the break that you deserve, rest, and do something for you. Let me see if there's anything else. Now it's like, what do you need to know? And then maybe I'll pull a final card at the end. I like these to be slightly more manageable. I'm going to do just a tarot card for this. So what do you need to know in this moment in time? And yes, the sloth was unbothered. That's kind of funny, the person that mentioned it. What do you need to know? It's all about choices. So we have the 6 of Pentacles in reverse. These two people are kind of like in the middle of an embrace, and they're letting sort of emotion get the better of them. So I want to pull the traditional card and talk about this. Don't make a decision when you're worried, when you're angry, when you're overly optimistic or excited. We want to make sure that you're measuring your decision, looking at it from all perspectives. Is this right for me now? So that's one thing. Even though we have like the other hands, when I'm looking at this, we were looking more at a partnership or decision or this back and forth energy. And again, it's kind of like lost in the passion of the moment. So with this, we're saying, I need to get a step back and really feel this out from a cognitive perspective and an energetic perspective. The other thing you need to know is it's time to look at the budget. Your time, your schedule, your money, because we got 2 cards around balance. And so it's time to balance out all the equations. Make sure that everything's okay and say no as needed. Maybe even just pull back a little bit. I'm all for, sort of like thinking anything's possible, but when we're looking at an investment or a commitment, we want to be practical. We want to have a little bit of extra padding to make sure that we're not overextending ourselves. And this is going to be so much more sustainable in the long run, okay? I'd love for you to focus on a final question that you might have about whatever's going on in your life, however you might be feeling today, whatever you might be thinking. Go ahead and think about that. I'm going to shuffle and see what Spirit has to say. Fantastic. We have the 3 of Cups coming through for today. This is celebration, partnership, community, love, opportunity, all of that. If you were asking a yes or no, it's a yes with a small asterisk. It's saying yes, but you may not get the level of commitment that you want immediately. So if it's a work situation, it's like maybe like a temporary to permanent sort of thing where they want to try out the sort of connection first before committing. In a relationship, someone may just need time to get to know you, to feel how they feel with you, and know what they want. So it's courtship. That's what this card is about. But there's an understanding, too, that there may be other parties involved, too. So getting the big picture. Are we exclusive? Is this moving at the pace that I want? Have I explored everything that I want? Exploring and allowing for your heart to sort of like get its head on straight is really what I'm getting with this. So don't rush, feel it out, and know that for the next week at least, you may need to sort of like take it a little slower than you want or you thought. But the courtship process is really important. Think about getting to know someone. Each time you hang out, you see another side of them. When you meet their parents or you meet their friends or you meet their neighbors, you see another side of them, right? So take time so you can see all the facets to know what you're getting into. Same thing is for any part of our life. When we're getting into something new, we have to see all the facets. And because we're in eclipse energy, I wouldn't make any major decision this weekend anyway. I would just look at the different sides of it and have some fun. This is a great time to meet with friends, meet with new friends and partners, and any sort of energy around people in your life, and see where that might bring you next. Don't try to put a label on it just yet, okay? What a magical and fun and sort of like in the flow reading this was. I didn't know where I was going to take it until I hit go live. And I kind of like that. We're not going to do channeled. I'm going to save that for tomorrow. I feel like this was perfect for what it needed to be today. So after I get a chiropractic adjustment later today, I'm going to put up all the polls for the Sunday Collective, which we're still having. This was a bonus. You just lucked out that we got them back to back and they're both on the weekend. I noticed that we have a decent amount of people in the live stream right now. So if you wouldn't mind, before we go any further, hit the like button once. If you're new, subscribe. I've been doing more of them lately. The fact that you've allowed me to do bi-monthly readings, like 2 at once, means I can do a lot more like this. And I can just do different things. So let's embrace that, because I can show up more and in different ways. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I hope you like it. Okay. Like and subscribe. It's free. It helps. I appreciate it. Later, after this is on replay, you can follow me on social media. All my official links are on my main channel page. You can click, and it's like 13 different links to all the official platforms. But it's Nicholas Ashbaugh on just about everything. And I did announce it last night. So this reading has been announced in advance. I was like, let's make sure people know for different time zones. I do them at different times. Sometimes I do them at 5 o'clock. Sometimes I do it at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, noon. So I will mix it up when it comes to the impromptus. So the love reading may be like noon Pacific or something next week. Okay, let's see what else. You can give back. I see some stickers. I want to say thanks. That really helps, because all creative producers on this platform, all content creators, we really rely on all of you to show up and show some love. So thank you for making it possible. I couldn't do it without you. And to that end, I just want to say thank you. I'm going to take a couple of moments here to recognize those who celebrated a milestone, and then we will take a look at any sort of stickers as well. All right, so let me see here what I can do. I'm trying to get to the right thing here, so hold on just a second. Here we go, fan funding. All right, I'd like to say thanks to the following people. First of all, welcome to Lady Intrigue, a new channel member. Good to have you here. Claude, thank you for your sticker. Same thing to Kristen, 2 in a row. Thank you so much. Also, it looks like you were the top chatter today, so thanks for that. Lisa, so kind of you to both be a member and gift a membership to someone. I appreciate that. Handy, thank you. Good to see you. I remember your name from a long time ago. Good to see you here again. Thank you for being a longtime member as well. You gave a sticker and you're a member. I see you and I appreciate you. Patricia, thank you also for your sticker. Same thing for PJ. Hey, Rob, so good to see you, buddy. Thank you for that really generous and kind sticker as well. Karen, likewise. CMG, thank you also. I think I actually see and said thanks to everybody here. So I hope this was helpful. Take a look at it as needed over the next day or two. I'm sure there's a lot to unpack in it. And I'll be back again around 9:15 Pacific tomorrow to take a look at our weekly collective reading where we look at 7 days, a special topic, whatever else I feel I need to do. And because we did this back to back, there may be some structural changes to that. One thing that I'm trying to do in this latter part of 2025 is have fun with formats, because sometimes structure is good. Sometimes we don't need the structure. So I'm playing around. I've been doing this long enough. So anyway, let's see. I think I saw another member here. Welcome, Colleen. So good to have you back, actually. I see you rejoining as well. All right, everybody, let's pull out some confetti and say thank you. Thanks for showing up today. You're going to get through this period of time. We're going to focus on bringing the energy into the fireworks here of possibilities. Wishing you lots of love and light. Again, I'll see you again tomorrow so that we can map everything out for the week ahead. Until then, take care of yourselves, be gentle with yourselves, and I'll see you soon.